Want to know how to play Baldur's Gate 3? Let me, a complete noob, explain to you how to play. This is you. Well, no, it's not actually, but it could be one day. This time, you get to decide what you want to be. When you customize your character, you get to pick its race, and change their color, and their facial shape, pick a class, and pick magic, pick an origin, and change your facial, pick an origin, and change your
Okay!
According to my knowledge, often this part could take hours, but since we are noobs, we will focus on the basics. Since this is a fantasy game, you get to choose from a variety of different races, including an elf, half an elf, an alien elf, an elf that faces discrimination, an elf that people on the internet love to make fan art of, an elf that makes things awkward, a dwarf, half a dwarf, dwarf light, a Chad Mark Zuckerberg, and finally, an elf without pointy ears. According to some stats by the creators of the game, so many people have picked the human race, and I just gotta ask, why? You get a chance to be these cool different races, and you choose human out of all things? Shame on you. Next, we get to pick your class. You can choose to be a fighter that specializes in fighting, a barbarian that also specializes in fighting, a paladin that also specializes in fighting, but they serve a god. You can be a monk who specializes in fighting, but with his hands, a ranger that specializes in fighting, but from a distance, a rogue that specializes in fighting from the shadows, a druid who specializes in fighting but as a furry, a cleric that specializes in fighting but serves a god. Hang on, haven't we already had this one? A bard who specializes in fighting but with words, a wizard who specializes in fighting but with magic because they studied, a warlock who specializes in fighting with magic but serves serves another god? How many gods are there in this game? And finally, a sorcerer who specializes in fighting with magic because they were just born that way. Picking your class will impact your playstyle, so be sure to pick one that you feel most comfortable with. If you do pick a class that has some magic, you'll have to pick some spells. But there are so many spells in this game that we don't have time to go over all of them, so go watch a spells tier list video. I'm sure that will catch you up on what to do. Finally, you can adjust your stats. Use strength if you want to be a big strong man. Use dexterity if you feel like you can be a cool sneaky thief. Use constitution if you just want to be a huge sponge that absorbs anything that comes your way. Use intelligence if you want to, actually, everyone you meet. Use wisdom if you want to be an old man. And use charisma if you want to just try to sleep your way through this entire game. Alright, congratulations. That's the basics of making your character. We haven't even talked about how to play the game yet. Welcome to the game. The main drive of this game is that you get to do whatever the heck you want. Want to be a hero of the land? You can be. Want to be an absolute insane psychopath and slaughter everyone around you? You can be. Want to play as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? Sure thing. Throughout the game, you will meet a variety of different characters, and you can choose what to do. You can resolve situations by just talking, or you can get physical and slaughter everyone in sight. But remember, everything you do in this game is based on luck. Throughout the game, there will be times where you have to perform an action that correlates to one of your stats you chose when making your character, and it will require you to roll a dice. If you roll a number higher than the action's difficulty, you'll succeed. Roll lower, and well, you can kind of see what will happen. This will also happen automatically during combat, and will impact the amount of damage you deal, or whether you'll even hit the enemy at all. That leads us to our next main topic, which is combat. When presented in combat, each character will take it in turns. On your turn, you get to perform one main action most of the time, which can include attacking, healing, using a spell, etc. When using these actions, a percentage will show when you are targeting someone, showing the likelihood that the attack will land. Sometimes these percentages will increase or decrease depending on a variety of variables. After your main action, you will be presented with a bonus action, which will present different options depending on your playstyle, including sneaking, healing, or an extra attack. During your turn, you will also have a limited amount of movement and can usually move only 9 meters or less for our short kings. During combat, make sure you follow your class's playstyle. If you're any of the big burly close combat types, make sure to be up close and personal. If you're a sneaky type, make sure to be super stealthy to deal more damage. If you're pretty much any form of magic wielder, stand on the outskirts of the battlefield on higher ground, because if you're anywhere else on the field, you're useless. Also, make sure to look at your surroundings, as you can often use your environment to assist you. See a hanging light? Shoot it down to burn the enemies below you. See a pit? Chuck someone in, or before combat, take heaps of explosive barrels, and then drop them all in front of a boss to make quick, light work of them. If a character's health falls below 0, they will need to be revived, by either healing them or going over and picking them up. If you don't do this, they'll die. However, they can still be revived by using a revival scroll or by some other unholy means. After defeating numerous enemies or completing certain quests, you'll gain experience and be able to level up. This will make your character stronger and will often unlock new abilities and choices to further build your character. Often, you'll encounter large groups of enemies. Be sure to get some friends to play with you so that you can make things easier and work together. Wait, what's that? You don't have any friends? Oh, well, lucky for you, there are companions. There are a few different companions you can have during your playthrough, all with different strengths and weaknesses. But here are the main 6 you'll meet toward the start of the game. Shadowheart, an emo girl who we swear we can all fix. Astarion, a sexy man who is definitely not at all a vampire. He's definitely not. Definitely. Lae'zel, a strong, pig-nosed alien lady that only really cares about herself and her ways and her stupid crèche. Sorry, I have certain feelings towards this companion. Will, your typical valiant noble hero who would never make a deal with an evil... Oh, well, okay, he's the devil now. Gale, the absolute Chad that is Gale, with an absolute hilarious personality and a lover of the god of magic? What? How is this guy meant to be level 1? And finally, Karlach, my personal fiery queen, who is just so hot, as in literally, as in she is literally on fire, like all the time. Karlach is just the best. Now, you can choose 3 of these companions to accompany you on your journey, while the others all chill at camp collecting dust. Certain choices and actions in the game will be approved by your companions. The more they approve of you, the more likely they will open up to you and share their backstories, or even share themselves. You can also perform actions that your companions disapprove of. Do enough of that, and they will just straight up leave you. There you go. Not only do you not have friends in the real world, now you're losing them in the game. Congratulations. What an amazing person you are. Throughout your journey, you'll also have to take short rests to heal your team. However, certain abilities will require your team members to have a long rest. These long rests will recover spell slots, which is a whole other thing that I just don't have the time to get into right now, or will help regain abilities. Be sure to frequently return to camp for a long rest, and then you can relax your brain from being the professional noob you are. Overall, I think Baldur's Gate 3 is a really fun game. It'll definitely take some time to get your head around how the game works and all the mechanics, but once you get the hang of it, you'll be slaying dungeons and exploring dragons in no time. I would rate this game a solid 8 out of 10, as it's absolutely amazing, but it does take some time to figure out. My final tip I have for you all is to save. Save every 10 seconds. This game rarely auto-saves, so you'll end up losing hours of progress if you do not save. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please feel free to subscribe and follow my Instagram. And if you disagree with my rating, remember, I'm just a noob.